Hey, how you floating? It's Bo. Now, before we get started with this rendition of the 1-2, I want to make sure that I get a really big thanks out of the way, which is to everybody that has helped with the very first 1-2 video. I have no idea how 200 views is something that I was even able to manage on this one, but for whatever reason, you guys seem to like it, love it, and for whatever it is, I'm going to continue to provide. I really can't actually explain. It's a bit crazy because I kind of went from having around like 12 to 30 viewers, like 30 views on average on a video, to now having 200, damn near 300 being my highest one. And now my brand new standards are like 50 or so views and everything like that. So it's pretty crazy and everything like that. Like, I like it, but it's also something that I don't know. I didn't really think I didn't expect it at all. But thank you so much for the abundant amount of support on all the videos, actually. I really cannot thank you guys enough. But getting past all of that and getting into the real meat and bones of the actual topic today, why exactly do we not like Ryan Garcia? The answer is, I ain't gonna lie, it's fairly simple. You kind of have to break it down into 3 separate categories, though. First one. With a record of 23 wins and 0 losses, some of those notable wins being up against Emmanuel Tagoe, Luke Campbell, and of course Javier Fortuna, you would genuinely think that he should be going out of his way to target some of the big dogs in the lightweight division, and he is. He's constantly calling out Devin Haney, and he is constantly fighting with his boyfriend Gervonta Davis on Twitter. In my wholehearted opinion, the only problem is that he is sitting here fighting people like Javier Fortuna and Emmanuel Tagoe. It's really just that simple. He's cherry picking. These are not fights that are genuinely going to push him to the upper echelon like how Luke Campbell did. So let's compare some records, okay? When it comes down to Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, that fight in general, the reason why I don't think Ryan holds a candle to Devin is, of course, their resume, but also just how much he's genuinely willing to take a fight. First off, starting from Jorge Linares, then going from Yuriorkis Gamboa, then going on to face Jojo Diaz, then going on to beat the man that beat the man that beat the man, and George Kambosos. It's genuinely crazy to really think that Ryan Garcia could ever be in a similar place like that. In my wholehearted opinion, they've both had like the same amount of time in terms of starting their professional and amateur careers. So for whatever it is, like, Ryan has had great and big opportunities of his own. He just genuinely decides to pick the easy way out so he can keep his undefeated record, and if anything else, he can try to just, let's say, hype his way up into an extremely big fight that everybody knows he really is not ready for, like Haney or Gervonta Tank Davis. Which, speaking of Tank Davis, I don't even understand why for some reason, I don't even understand why he is on this man's sack like this so hard, because Ryan needs to fully understand that if you want to have a fight be made, the fight can and will be made. For years, I'm talking all the way back in 2020, they have been going back and forth about trying to talk, about fighting, about doing this, about doing that, constantly calling one another out after fights and all this other kind of shit. My biggest thing is that, of course, you've got the problem with weight and, of course, money. It's always going to be a really big factor. Always going to be one of the biggest reasons why fights like this don't ever really happen or pull through. And it sucks. I'm getting really tired of these two barking back and forth over the internet for this long, so let me not try to rant about it like this. But even besides all of that, I don't even understand why Ryan feels as if that he could hold a candle to what Gervonta has done at this point in time. 3 different weight divisions at this point, right? 130, 135, and 140. I'm positive that this boy has no problem with getting to any kind of weight to whoop your ass, Ryan. None whatsoever. And for whatever it is, homeboy will genuinely take any kind of payout to fight your ass. He really fucking will. I didn't even know who the hell Rolly Romero was, but supposedly they've just had a whole bunch of stupid ass beef beforehand. He was like, dude, I'm gonna make this one happen because I want to beat your ass so bad. And let's also not forget that whenever the fight was supposed to first happen, Rolly accusations we won't really get into that kind of shit. But from fighters such as Leo Santa Cruz all the way up to Mario Barrios, Isaac Cruz, you really are going to sit here and tell me that Gervonta has not fought anybody? He's been facing a bunch of C-listers up until this point? I don't want to hear shit like that, yo. Like, that's exactly what you have been doing, Ryan. You have been scared to face any genuine opposition at all. At this point in time, if you were really about anything, you would have been facing some of these other top guys. What happened to that Isaac Cruz fight? Legitimately, I would have had really nothing too much of anything to say at this point in time if you were going to be fighting Isaac Cruz next. That's a fight that you need to be taking. Another fight in which you need to take? Jojo Diaz. How about you go ahead and take that fight as well? Or since you love to stay at 140, go and shut Regis Prograis' face up real quick, bro. Like, that dude loves to talk all the shit in the world. You want to stay at 140 and everything? There are badder motherfuckers in your current weight division right now that I can't even sit here and speak on. But you want to be super worried about the 135-pound division and Tank Davis and Devin Haney. These guys are the upper echelon. They have faced great opposition and they will continue to do so because they are already champions. You are a freaking Twitter champ. You were the Instagram champion of the world. And, yo, that's like exactly what leads me on to my second reasoning here. You know how our parents like to sit here and tell us things, you know, like, get off that goddamn phone. Probably because that you will end up making a fool of yourself half of the time, rather than actually doing what you originally were trying to accomplish. Keep it a buck. You end up getting famous for the wrong reason, or you end up tweeting some shit that ends up going completely awry, or like is just absolutely fake and, you know, it didn't go to fruition at all. We're here to actually talk about just exactly what his internet escapades actually happened to be. Well, I'll just keep it a buck. It's usually just him talking shit about other fighters, saying I could whoop them, do this, sign the contract, my team's already sent it to you, I'm Ryan Garcia. That's just a lot of how his personality is online, is that he's untouchable, he's unbeatable, he's the guy that you still love to hate and all this other kind of shit. But dude, you're only really hated because you haven't necessarily proved yourself against top opposition that you continuously call out, and then you do crazy shit like this on the internet the entire time. Like, you get your ass dropped in one fight, you don't fuck around and fight for a whole nother year and a half, but during that year and a half, what are you doing? You're out here making fake fight statements about you trying to get something done with Manny Pacquiao, just to come out, just to come to find out, oh, you posted that on your story just because you liked it, just because you saw it somewhere. This would be a dream fight, but you were making it out as if it was gonna happen. What the hell? I mean, that's just not how shit works. Let's just say this, right? That, and then also, you'll gaslight people on Twitter, and then afterwards take their most blatant, whatever kind of responses to your existence as, oh, so that confirms that you're trying to fight me. You heard it here first, folks. You heard it here first. If he pulls out, he's the pussy. I'm not the one twisting the narrative here. And for a really good second, I kind of forgot that I was talking about a professional boxer here. Genuinely. Really. Ryan Garcia kind of blurs the line between professional boxer and YouTuber, where he essentially has a YouTube personality, but with a professional boxing record. I don't necessarily know if that makes him, let's say, Jake Paul or not, but if that's essentially what you want to be, then yeah, cool, fine, and dandy. Because we never really knew too much about Ryan, except for the fact that he got famous off of legitimately hitting the heavy bag. It was never about his actual boxing skill. Sure, he got, I think, that one impressive knockout against Francisco Fonseca, but that was probably about it. That was really about it. There was really nothing else. 100%, dude. Straight. We really only knew you for having fast hands and beating the shit out of that speed bag that you got. This is really about it. Or the Cobra bag. Nah, take that back. Never mind. Cobra bag. But even with all that, that's literally all you're known for. But for whatever it is, Ryan, nobody would ever think this way about you if you weren't constantly doing things like, I don't know, being on podcasts and doing freaking body bag, or doing body shot challenges with YouTubers and other influencers all the time. Of course, do whatever the hell you want to with your own time. You're a young champion, do what you want to do and all that other kind of shit. But the way in which you get criticized for the things in which you get criticized for, I think, are very much valid. You do not necessarily, let's say, represent yourself as a contender to be a top champion at all. You haven't faced anybody of said caliber, or you haven't even let's say, faced anybody that has, let's say, challenged the top opposition and then lost. You haven't done that yet. Like, sure, there was something with you and Isaac Cruz, and sure, I'm positive there was maybe going to be something with maybe even you and Linares, if that was ever going to be a thing, but I really don't even know. Like, at this point in time, you're not really proving yourself to too much of anybody. I think for whatever it is, that's also your problem as well. You kind of don't really care about that at all. It's more about, at this point in time, trying to get the big fights made and the big fights happening for you, but also if they don't come around, you still need to get paid, and everyone will watch Ryan Garcia, especially if he has some shit to talk at the end of the fight. And I honestly don't really think that this is the WWE. This is boxing. The way in which fights get started and they actually happen is not by going back and forth on Twitter and Instagram for 2 years. It's by sitting down, coming to an agreement on something, and getting the fight taken care of. I really do think that at the end of the day, if you can do whatever the hell you may want to with all of your social medias, but also you are still using time whenever you do that. I would just genuinely say, if you're going to spend a lot of this time talking mess to all of these top contenders, Ryan, spend some time also making sure that it happens. Because for whatever it is, I'm positive even actual fans of you are starting to get a little bit tired of hearing this. It's lame. Now, in a sport like boxing, I won't sit here and say that having an ego is necessarily a bad thing. I actually think the complete opposite, 100%. It genuinely can make you a better combatant and possibly just a better figure to look at overall. Hence the reason why Ryan Garcia is just so known, but is also known for not necessarily fighting like top fucking guys, or let's say like the top opposition in which he is constantly calling out. And for whatever it is, yeah, fine, good to get your name and everything like that out there, but I do not think that you should have such an inflated ego like this, especially if you've been nothing but around people who have been telling you that you are great your entire little existence up until now. And these are some of the greats telling you that you're fucking awesome. So it's very much hard to, let's say, take exactly what they're saying and not take it directly to heart. I really can understand it though, because at the end of the day, Ryan Garcia is a much better boxer than me and you put together. So I guess he does have that over the average person walking the street. But if he really does want to be of the upper echelon, he really wants to like stake his name and like really make some history, he's got to start making some bigger fights happen. He's got to start making some stuff really pop off. I don't really think that him hiding behind his phone and his promotion and whatever other little excuses he may throw out to not make a fight happen or anything like that at all, no. It's not that time anymore. People now are wanting to see fights. People now are starting to get, I would say, a little bit frustrated, and boxing is a little bit in what I would say is kind of like a drought right now, because there's so many great champions and there's so many belts right now and there's so many what ifs, there's so many undetermined factors. And for whatever it is, Ryan Garcia is an absolutely amazing boxer. Let not this video take away anything in which he has already done, because like I said, he could whip me and you on a fucking terrible day. Broken leg, horrible left hand and all, me and you are most likely getting slept. Even for whatever it is though, I genuinely do think that I want for Ryan to do better. I want for him to just genuinely meet everything in which he is saying as of right now. I genuinely do think that he could give Ryan, I think Ryan could give somebody like Gervonta Tank Davis a good run for his money. And I honestly think that if Ryan, let's say, gets a few more wins under his belt, or I don't know, faces some genuine good opposition, like, look, I'm saying it right now, his next fight has to be with Isaac Cruz. If it's with anybody else, it can be with Devin, but it'll be a little bit too early. It can be with Gervonta, but it'll be a little bit too early. He needs to fight somebody like JoJo, or he needs to fight somebody like Isaac, or he needs to fight another top contender in 140 right now. He needs to. There's no time for him to, let's say, just, I guess, rest for too much longer. No. People are wanting to see Ryan Garcia back in the ring, and I am one of those individuals. Because for whatever it is, I genuinely like Ryan. I'm not really a Ryan hater, but he is just hated for these three, not to say simple reasons, but at the end of the day, the reasons nonetheless. They're the main ones, and for whatever it is, I genuinely think that he has all of the power and the capacity to change that. He's an extremely great athlete, and I don't think that at all where he is at right now, he's going to be dropping. He just needs to continuously keep his head up, especially with him and his mental stability and all that too. He needs to continue to keep that chin up, and as well, he needs to stay off of his damn phone. You need to get some fights happening, bro.